You know, it's days like this, I'm proud to be colorblind. The budget re-releases on certain consoles. Here on Nintendo, at least, you know, for the Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance, GameCube, it was called Player's Choice. On PS2, you may know of it as Greatest Hits. On Xbox, you may know of it as Platinum Hits. Either way you slice it, yeah, I fucking hate them. Not the fact that they're budget re-releases. I mean, like, this is great. Most of the time, they will take games that, you know, are fairly popular or may have been out of print for a little bit and re-release them for 20 bucks. That is pretty slick. That is fucking putrid. Most of the time, each of these console manufacturers give these cases and box art like this really garish design. I've talked about that at length. My least favorite, or at least on the Nintendo side of things, being the GameCubes. I mean, the overall design idea isn't horrible. I mean, this front cover, yeah, it's fine, whatever. It's when we go over to the spine that I freak out. They just have to be different, don't they? Oh, yellow compared to the rest of the GameCube's library being black. Great. But as much as I despise these things, I do like to keep track of, like, when Nintendo puts out new games in their, you know, re-release brand of that generation. And during the Wii and DS era, like, it took them a while. Like, there was no sign of a Player's Choice branding coming to that console. Until 2011, we finally got them. That's a weird way to spell Player's Choice. Yeah, Nintendo got rid of the Player's Choice branding, the branding that they've used ever since the Super Nintendo, and replaced it with Nintendo Selects. The idea of it was the exact same thing. These games retailed for 20 bucks. They were mostly older titles from the Wii generation, you know, games that have been around for a couple years that Nintendo is like, all right, you know, we'll re-release these games for around 20 bucks. You know, they've had their time in the sun, so hey, why not try to get a few more players in on them by re-releasing them at a budget price? The first lineup of Nintendo Select's Wii titles launched in May of 2011. We got Animal Crossing City Folk, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Mario Super Sluggers, and why? Yeah, Wii Sports got re-released. It was one of the first titles to get re-released. Now, why is that? Well, I think around this time, Nintendo was actually starting to phase Wii Sports out as being like the go-to pack-in bundle. Some Wii systems didn't come with it anymore. They would come with like maybe Mario Kart Wii or New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So, like, I guess they were like, yeah, sure, we'll re-release Wii Sports. I don't really know why, because it's just like, you know, like, okay. The only reason why I really like this release is that it gave Nintendo an excuse to give Wii Sports an official, like, plastic box. Every Wii Sports owner knows the pain of having that damn cardboard sleeve as the only way to house Wii Sports in your collection. You know, I actually printed off a custom box art for a little bit there, but thankfully, Nintendo actually gave us, like, a full-blown case for Wii Sports in 2011. So I really like this from that perspective, but outside of that, it's just kind of like I truly wonder how much this copy of Wii Sports sold, because by May of 2011, like, it was Wii Sports. Everybody had Wii Sports, man. But Mario Super Sluggers, Animal Crossing City Folk, and Twilight Princess. That was a pretty good lineup of $20 budget games. Wii Sports and Twilight Princess were launch titles for the Wii, so by 2011, you know, they were nearing 5 years old. Mario Super Sluggers and Animal Crossing City Folk were only like less than 3 years old by the time these Nintendo Selects versions released, so, you know, that's a pretty good deal. But the deal isn't what's important here. It's this whole damn branding that I don't like about these re-releases. Weirdly enough, though, I don't know why, I don't have much of a problem with Nintendo Selects. Maybe it's the fact that it looks so elegant. I mean, to be honest, this whole border and this little ribbon at the top, you know, it blocks off more of the box art and it takes up more space than so many other re-release brandings. But at the very least, the spine just has a small emblem. I'll take that. Many Wii games have a small little emblem at the bottom anyways, like EA games. All EA games have this little dingleberry at the bottom. This just doesn't bother me. Of course, I would prefer if I had like the actual like version of the game, but the fact that I own so many Wii games that are Nintendo Selects versions, I think that shows to me I don't really care. GameCube, I tried to purge that stuff from my collection as much as humanly possible. Later in the summer of 2011, they released another batch, including Super Paper Mario, Mario Strikers Charged, Mario Galaxy, and Punch-Out on Wii. Yeah, they pretty much knocked out a lot of the Mario games on Wii right there. The fact that you get Super Mario Galaxy for 20 bucks, that's a steal. But then after these came out, they only had like one more batch during the Wii's lifespan. And that was in 2012, June of 2012. They re-released new Play Control games under Nintendo Selects without calling them like new Play Control. So new Play Control games were GameCube titles re-released on the Wii with Wii motion controls. They had Pikmin 1, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, and Mario Power Tennis. And Mario Power Tennis was re-released as a Nintendo Selects title, but they kind of got rid of most of the new Play Control branding outside of that little play this classic GameCube game with enhanced Wii control at the bottom. But, you know, the normal Mario Power Tennis new Play Control game on Wii had all this new Play Control stuff on it. And they got rid of it. They just kind of put this border around Mario Power Tennis, put the original Mario Power Tennis box within the border and said like, hey, this is the Nintendo Selects. But I don't have that version. What I do have is the other Nintendo Selects game that launched that day, Pikmin 2. This game never released here in North America outside of the Nintendo Selects playable. That's because Pikmin 2 launched as a new Play Control game in Europe and Japan years before it did in North America. It never came over in North America, and in 2012, that was kind of the Wii's final last big year as Nintendo's main home console. Later that year, the Wii U launched, and I feel like Nintendo was just like, all right, what do we have to lose? Let's just put out Pikmin 2 this year. We got nothing else. And yeah, that was pretty much all they released as a Nintendo Selects here in North America. This was kind of a weird thing because like Nintendo barely really did much with this whole re-release branding. They only released like a handful of games, and then that was it. On the GameCube, they were pumping out player's choices left and right. Pretty much every game you could think of got a player's choice. Specifically, a lot of third-party games. Not even third-party games, but third-party licensed kids games. So pretty much like all of Nintendo's games got them. You know, Wind Waker got it, Four Swords Adventures, Kirby Air Ride, Mario Sunshine, Smash Bros. Melee, like Dragon Ball Z games, Disney Pixar movie games like Cars and Finding Nemo, Spider-Man games, SpongeBob games, Tak and the goddamn Power of Juju. So many games got the player's choice label on GameCube. But it seemed like Nintendo was much more selective with the Nintendo Selects brand. Oh. Seemed to be kind of like a Nintendo-only club. However, in PAL regions, like, Nintendo Selects went effing crazy! I mean, not absolutely nuts, but like so many more games got Nintendo Selects re-releases in Europe. In addition to that, they actually had some third-party games get that, mostly just Ubisoft games, like Rayman Raving Rabbids titles, Red Steel, My Fitness Coach. It was a bit strange, but hey, I mean, like, if you were over in Europe and you wanted some cheap Wii games, you were no doubt in heaven. Over here, we got kind of like some fun little, like, best of Wii on shuffle playlist as re-releases for Nintendo Selects. Like, some good picks overall, but it's just, it just kind of feels like, huh? Like, man, if you're gonna pull a weird-ass move, like, put Wii Sports out like this, why not go all the way, do the other Wii series games, Wii Play? Yeah, sure. Most people only bought that with the remote. Why not put that as a Nintendo Select? Who cares? I'm surprised we did not see Wii Music. So yeah, at the end of the day, it kind of just felt like an odd initiative of Nintendo's near the end of the Wii's life. But then, they brought them back in 2016. After a 4-year hiatus, they finally put out new Nintendo Selects for the 3DS and the Wii U. Yeah, they completely skipped the DS with some kind of budget re-release program. No Nintendo Selects on there, which I always found a bit strange. But in March of 2016, we finally got Nintendo Selects. I remember this day. It was very strange. This picture started floating around as kind of like a rumor, like, oh man, Nintendo Selects coming to Wii U and 3DS. Like, it was literally this picture that kind of broke the news. And it was really weird to me because, like, it was like not well put together. Like, a lot of the pictures of the game box art were off center or sized wrong and whatnot. And then they just had like the little Arial text on the side just saying new Nintendo Selects titles for March 11th, 2016. And I was just like, I know it's legit, but it's just like, how is this how we found out? I think it was just made by like a certain game shop. I assume it was made in Canada because it said $29.99, and you know, game prices are a little higher there, so I assume it came from a shop based out of there. This was during my big Wii U support phase. I really wanted to play and buy as much Wii U content as possible, so I really got excited when I saw the Wii U titles that were gonna be re-released for only 20 bucks a pop. For only 20 bucks, starting on March 11th, you could get Mario 3D World, NES Remix Pack, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and the one that I was the most excited for, Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3 was getting really expensive around that time. Like it was really hard to find the original version. Like it just went out of print, and you know, people were selling it for like over 60 bucks online. So it was really hard to find this physically. And I was so excited that they were re-releasing it. This was how I played Pikmin 3 originally, even though I had a digital copy for free. Yeah, when Mario Kart 8 came out, if you registered it on Club Nintendo, you would get to pick like one of 4 digital Nintendo games to claim and download to your system. One of them was Pikmin 3. I got Pikmin 3, but I refused to play it without getting a physical copy. Yeah, I was a little bitch back then. I don't care. I download so many games just to my system, like my Nintendo Switch, if I want to play them right now. Like I just, you know, like it's not as big of a deal to me anymore. But back then I was like, no, I gotta play Pikmin 3 with the disc. And you know what? I really like them doing these re-releases like this, because when they re-release like these games via Nintendo Selects for 20 bucks, like the entire value of this game goes down. It doesn't matter if it's the original print. The original print will probably still be a little more expensive, but the value of it immediately just tanks. And you know what? That's really nice, because they also did some Wii games in Nintendo Selects on that day in 2016. So on the Wii, they re-released Donkey Kong Country Returns, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Animal Crossing City Folk again. This is all in 2016, and like Animal Crossing City Folk already got a Nintendo Selects release, and then they re-released the re-release. But they also re-released Super Mario All-Stars, the Wii version, the one that launched in 2010 as a part of the 25th anniversary of Super Mario Brothers celebration, and it was like a complete hack job. Like the game itself was literally just the SNES Super Mario All-Stars on a Wii disc and nothing more. But it came with some cool extras, like, you know, a soundtrack CD and a little history booklet. But the Nintendo Selects re-release was literally just the game for $20. It was an SNES game. Go to hell. Yeah, the Nintendo Selects version was just the game. You didn't get any of the extras. However, them just re-releasing Super Mario All-Stars as a Nintendo Selects game brought the value of that game down across the board. I went to a retro game store and they had the original version of Super Mario All-Stars on the Wii with the whole collector's box, all of that jazz, for only $13. That was in 2016. I got Mario All-Stars on the Wii in 2016 for 13 bucks with all the collectibles. And that was because, like, you know, that retro game store priced that game based on like what the value was. And I'm sure, like, you know, like you go online and you see like, oh, this game is retailing for $20 brand new. Well, used, we have to price it at $13. So it's just like, it didn't matter that it was the cool little bundle with all that stuff that was originally going for like probably like $70 in 2015. No, now it's $13. Dude, my penis was so fucking cool that day. Yeah, but them doing Wii game re-releases in 2016 was a little strange. However, you could play those games on Wii U, and, you know, people were still playing the Wii. The Wii was still getting new releases in the form of like Skylanders, Superchargers Racing, and Just Dance games and whatnot. So sure, I'll take it. But they also did the 3DS games. They did Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D, Mario Party Island Tour, Yoshi's New Island, and Ocarina of Time 3D. That was another big one. That was another one that was getting a little harder to find. It was pretty interesting. They pretty much did all the Donkey Kong Country Returns series of games in one fell swoop. You got Returns 3D on the 3DS as a Nintendo Selects, Returns on the Wii as a Nintendo Selects, and Tropical Freeze as a Nintendo Selects. That was a damn good slate of re-releases. But that wasn't the only time. No, they were just starting this big reboot of Nintendo Selects games. God damn it. Yeah, the next set of Wii U games that got Nintendo Selects, included Nintendo Land, which, you know, was included with most Wii U Deluxe sets. So it's a Wii Sports situation all over again. And the fact that this game, when bundled with Wii U's, already came in like a big case like this. It wasn't like Wii Sports where Nintendo Land came in a cardboard sleeve. No, it got like a full-blown case in the Wii U sets. So, like, this just felt like completely unnecessary and also just a waste of time. I remember going to used game stores before this game hit Nintendo Selects, and it was already like under $5. Like, they were just trying to get rid of this game. So getting a Nintendo Selects version, like, God, that stung. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, NES Remix Pack, which launched in March of 2016, this game already only retailed for $30. So it's just like re-releasing it for $10 less. It's just like, oh, thank you. But the other games they launched in that second wave of Selects titles were Wind Waker HD and Lego City Undercover. Wind Waker HD is interesting because, you know, they used the non-gold art, you know, like they actually launched the game with kind of like this very golden artwork on the front. And then they re-released it a little later on. They had like a second batch of those games that just had this artwork, just the more colorful artwork without the shiny gold front. And Nintendo Selects version uses that, and the spine has blue text instead of the regular kind of golden text that the version on my shelf has, which is, you know, oh, cool. The Nintendo 3DS got far more Nintendo Selects re-releases far more frequently than the Wii or Wii U ever did. They pretty much had new ones released every year up until 2019. This one released in February 2019. It's Mario Maker for 3DS. And, yeah, interestingly, I guess they got rid of the little emblem at the bottom there, which, you know, makes this even more tolerable. Europe got way more of these types of games than we ever did. But, you know, we got a fair amount of the 3DS games, mostly just Nintendo-published games. You know, this is pretty much Nintendo-only games, with a couple of weird exceptions. So in Europe, actually, they had Nintendo eShop Selects, which gave a couple of like indie eShop games physical releases in the form of Nintendo Selects games. Specifically, Fast Racing Neo was the big one there. You may know of it on Nintendo Switch as Fast RMX, but that was kind of a big deal on Wii U because it kind of made people think like, oh man, like this is the F-Zero we never got. And yeah, Fast Racing Neo is a great time. Though it feels a lot more kind of like Wipeout on the PlayStation consoles. Though I think it does enough to kind of scratch that F-Zero itch many might have. But it got a physical release on the Wii U, only in Europe, under the Nintendo Selects brand, even if it was kind of labeled as Nintendo eShop Selects. Same occurred for SteamWorld Collection. That got a physical release here in North America, not as a Nintendo Selects, but in Europe, it received a physical release under Nintendo eShop Selects. That's something I really wish they did over here in North America. I think it's really cool when they kind of give those indie games that Nintendo published love. I think that's really damn cool, and I wish they brought over that Nintendo eShop Selects brand here to North America to kind of give like, hey, you know, like we're publishing this indie game as like a Selects brand, as in this is the best of the best, you know? I think that's really cool. But those were still only exclusive to Europe. But here in North America, some weird shit happened. Don't ask me. Yeah, 2 third-party games got Nintendo Selects on Wii U. Very quietly, I might add. These never got like formal announcements from what I can tell. I don't remember this ever being like announced by Nintendo. Nintendo would generally put out like press releases whenever they do Nintendo Selects releases. But these were very quiet. Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed and Just Dance 2015. I think Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed is a bit more like well-known of a Nintendo Select's release, but Just Dance 2015 is a lot more like obscure and weird. And you know what else is weird? It got a Wii version too! Yeah, they did a Nintendo Select's re-release of Just Dance 2015 on the Wii and Wii U, which makes this kind of a hard thing to find. Like, it took me a while to find Just Dance 2015 Nintendo Selects on Wii U, especially considering that it also released on the damn Wii. Now, over in Europe, this wasn't nearly as like weird or obscure, but here in North America, like, this was pretty much only like Nintendo published games that got Nintendo Select. So this shows that like, no, like it doesn't have to be just Nintendo published games, but the fact that it was only like these games is weird. It's also kind of weird that there is only one third-party game that got Nintendo Selects on 3DS here in North America, from what I can tell. And it was Frozen Olaf's Quest. Yeah, this was a weird line of releases. So much so that I'm not even sure if there's like a definitive answer as to if those were like the only third-party Nintendo Selects games here in North America. But that's from what I can tell. This was a weird line of re-releases. Like, it just kind of felt like Nintendo started them in like 2011, 2012, gave up, and then brought it back, and then did this. However, I always find it really interesting which titles they choose. GameCube, pretty much every big title, every title that you remember, every game that you played, got a player's choice version. There's no doubt about that. Like, there's so much yellow in the GameCube's library. But on the Wii, Wii U, and 3DS, they were much more selective, and I don't really look at it like, oh, this was the best of the best. Like, damn, Mario Party Island Tour for $20? But them being more selective with what games entered Nintendo Selects kind of made it more interesting as to like, oh man, what game got re-released? And when it was a game that was getting a little more expensive and hard to find, that was so damn nice to see. It was so great to finally get Pikmin 3 physically, and also get like the versions that weren't Nintendo Selects to get kind of like, you know, down in price. The price went down across the board with games like that, Mario All-Stars, Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. So as much as the branding can be annoying to some people, including myself in many cases, I really like these re-releases. I think they're great for the consumer. I think they're kind of cool if you actually want to go out and collect all of them. Like, that's kind of a fun little thing to go for. And it gives you access to some great games at $20 a pop. Like, you can't be upset at that. Unless they're pawning this off to you.